All right, everyone. A thread from Brian Cates. Dr. Fauci has said multiple times it's perfectly fine for doctors to prescribe hydroxychloroquine to CCP virus patients off label. Here's just one example of him saying that. Then we cut to a clip from an interview with Dr. Fauci with Chris Stiegel. Stiegel asks, if you're a doctor listening to me right now, and a patient with coronavirus feels like they want to try chloroquine, and you're their doctor, you're not Anthony Fauci, the guy running the coronavirus task force, would you say, all right, we'll give it a shot? Fauci responds, yeah, of course, particularly if people have no other option. You want to give them hope. In fact, for physicians in this country, these drugs are approved drugs for other reasons. They're anti-malaria drugs. They're drugs against certain autoimmune diseases like lupus. Physicians throughout the country can prescribe that in an off-label way, which means they can write it for something that wasn't originally approved for. People do that all the time, and it really is an individual choice between the physician and his or her patient as to whether or not they want to do that. End quote. Brian continues, an anonymously sourced report in the fake news media is currently making the rounds in which Fauci and Navarro get into a heated argument because Fauci supposedly doesn't want people to be using this drug yet. Publicly, at the briefings, he hasn't said one word to discourage doctors from prescribing the drug. What he has said is the scientific evidence hasn't been documented yet to his satisfaction that this is the drug therapy that will save the day. The two are not exclusive. Dr. Fauci is a government scientist. He's steeped in FDA jargon. Plenty of drugs have been rushed to market or used for certain things and then had to be pulled later as complications arose. He's trained to want rock-solid documentation. People make it sound like he's talking about stopping the prescriptions or something. Vaccines prevent you from getting the virus. This is a drug therapy for people who already have the virus. This isn't the same freaking thing. Why is everybody being so stupid? And someone just claimed to me that Navarro was on Fox and Friends this morning, and that the agreement to send hydroxychloroquine to New York City hospitals was unanimous. I'm assuming that Dr. Fauci was one of the votes here. Since I didn't see the interview, thus far I'm going only by my followers' word for it. Did Navarro come out and say that that was fake news about him and Fauci getting in a heated argument about hydroxychloroquine? Because if so, about 12 people linked me that BS news. If this is true, that Fauci and Navarro didn't get in some big screaming match over hydroxychloroquine, this is just another of DNC media reporters making stuff up to push a narrative. And I'm surprised at the number of people out there who follow me who keep falling for this. Let me tell you what an experienced propagandist does. They mix truth with fiction just enough to make it plausible, but enough fiction to trigger your confirmation biases so you will buy the lie. They know many of you don't like Fauci. They just used that on you. All you people that tell me and everyone else that you can spot fake news a mile away, you don't follow or believe fake news, you just got suckered again, apparently. Turns out you fall for fake news after all. As long as some clever propagandist uses your own biases against you, the same outlets keep regurgitating the same strategy. Why can't you spot it by now? Remember how Bannon used planted sources in the right-wing media for over a year to drive suspicions against Jared and Ivanka, as well as Mike Pence? Even today, as Trump keeps Jared and Ivanka and Pence in his inner circle, giving them key projects, explicitly trusting them, there are people who still think these inner circle people are deep state traitors because of anonymously sourced stories that circulated over 2 years ago. To me, That's always been one of the weirdest things about my newfound status in the last 2 years, where people constantly run to me and ask me to check this out. Is this true? And I'm stunned. What? You can't take one look at this and see it's BS? The fact I still have to tell people, why no, in fact, Jared and Ivanka are not sabotaging the old man, and Pence is not, in fact, surveying Trump's back, planning where to stick the knife in, absolutely amazes me. What's stunning about it is the people bringing this stuff to me would swear they are experts at spotting fake news. If so, why didn't you realize 2 years ago, when Bannon was spreading this garbage about Kushner and Ivanka and Pence, that it was all fake? Why'd you bring it to me? Let me state what the fake news media on both sides, the left and the right, are trying to do here, since so many people can't see. They're trying to get the members of this president's virus response team to start fighting with each other and get them to turn on each other. We're nearing the end of a national crisis, and the fake news media people, for their own reasons, are putting out anonymously sourced stories from the left and the right, trying to get the president's people and outsiders like Fauci to turn on each other. We don't have time for this bullshit. Trump's not going to fire Fauci, so every right-wing commentator insisting Trump do this is just wasting their time. He's a key member of the team, and he's not going anywhere. And it looks to me like left-wing fake news put out a story yesterday to drive the false hope narrative about hydroxychloroquine by putting out this anonymous story where Fauci, the scientist, and Navarro, the Trump guy, are at each other's throats over it. Again, bullshit. That Carlos Osuita guy is right. Watch only the Trump briefings. Stop letting fake news people on left and right driving their own dumb agendas filter your news for you with their stupid spin. The left-wing fake news was stridently pushing false narratives to try to convince the good Trump virus team people like Fauci and Birx to do the right thing and quit or turn on him publicly. When that failed, they went after them. And some media people on the right haven't exactly covered themselves in glory either, spinning their own absurd narratives about Fauci and Birx fooling Trump. Trump vets his own people. If Fauci and Birx are still there, it's because Trump wants them there. So, once again, watch the briefings and tune out the media idiots. Watch for yourself, and don't let other people tell you what was said, not even me.